Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios Brisbane on 102.1 FM and broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Z Games. With 10 years experience and over 500 episodes, Z Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out? Message us on Facebook at ZEVGamesAU.
You're listening to Z Games. My name is Evie and I'm here with
Paul
and Maylee.
Woo! It's the final episode of Z Games for 2020. Not ever. Don't give me that.
I would have done something more if it was ever, but probably not. Probably not.
I would put pants on if it was ever. Yeah, no, it's the last show of the year, and because it's the last show of the year, Z Games, tonight we are going to talk about our top picks of the year from the video games industry that we've all thoroughly enjoyed. There are a few of them, so we'll be diving into that tonight. And, of course, as usual, we will be talking about the week in gaming news because it's, Christmas and the holidays and all that doesn't mean that the news stops. We still have plenty of that good stuff for you. And later in the evening, Paul, our lovely Paul, has a review on Fuser tonight. So if you were fortunate enough to listen last week, you would have heard his unbelievable DJ skills. And you will get some more of that later this evening. So yeah, that's the show tonight.
Get hyped.
Get hyped. I can feel the energy. Yeah, Maylee and I are dancing. We're channeling it in now.
I don't know why I'm not dancing. I feel like you've pulled the energy from
hyped.
Me. Yeah. No, I'm not hyped
I thought you
enough.
would have seen it high. I was like, whoa, okay.
It's a loose episode. Let's get in.
And now I push the buttons. Yeah, well, let's just jump straight into the news.
Sounds
Let's
good.
Do it.
This week in gaming news, Australia's NBN status. With a mix of mobile towers, satellites, copper cabling and optical fibre, the Minister for Communications, Urban Infrastructure, Cities and the Arts, Paul Fletcher, has formally declared that the NBN is now built and fully operational. The original plan for fibre optic to 93% of Australian homes has been replaced by the current generation NBN, now served by an amalgam of fibre to the curb, building, premises and node, as well as cable internet in city centres. Rural areas are currently being serviced with a mix of variable speed mobile wireless and low speed satellite, the latter only attaining up to 3.5 megabytes per second. Minister Fletcher's announcement is one of the steps required for the privatisation of the NBN. However, the government have stated that they are not considering it during their current term. In related news, Elon Musk's internet service provider Starlink is looking into providing Australian mobile and satellite internet into the future. Starlink has purchased the rights to utilise the 5G network in Australia and has previously purchased licences for satellite in several rural centres. With their current technology, Starlink is promising speeds of over 4 times that of the current NBN rollout. KF Console. What seemed to start on Twitter as a hoax in June and a jab at the infamous perpetual delays of Cyberpunk 2077 has become a reality. Announced with a statement, "The console wars are over," the KF console is the result of a partnership between KFC, Cooler Master, Asus and Seagate. It boasts twin SSDs, a 9th generation Intel mobile chipset, an RTX graphics card, 4K 240Hz output, and the piece de resistance, a chicken warmer. Sadly, no prices or expected release dates have been revealed since the announcement, but is already speculated to be a collector's item. Deaths in gaming. Lin Chi, CEO of Yuzu, the creator of the mobile game adaptation of Game of Thrones, Winter is Coming, died on Christmas Day after being hospitalised with possible poisoning on the 17th. A colleague and suspect identified as Zhu has been detained by police. Reports have speculated that Mr. Lin was poisoned by Zhu via tea, medication, or blueberries, due to salary cuts because of work disputes with the CEO. DirectX creator and father Eric Engstrom passed earlier this month. Engstrom was part of the team that created DirectX, originally called Game SDK, the APIs for programmers to better develop and run games and multimedia on Windows computers. DirectX is also the base API for Xbox console and where the X in Xbox comes from. Engstrom was eulogised by friends as bossy, chaotic, but mostly exuberant and joyous. Engstrom leaves behind a huge legacy and is survived by his wife and 4 children. And that's all this week in gaming news.
Thank you so much, Toby, there for the week in gaming news. I just need to cut straight to the part about KFC console because I shared that with the Z Games team earlier, and I thought, "What is this?" And everyone was like, "Yeah, where have you been? How did you not notice this?"
Well,
I was like,
it was
what?
a joke a while ago, and then they're like, "No, it's not a joke anymore. We're going to actually make it."
The biggest news of the year.
So good. We're just talking about how ridiculous it is to bring food or drink anywhere near
Especially
electronics.
greasy fried products. Like, that is...
I wouldn't want to be playing a video game and eating KFC.
No,
Anyway.
KFC is probably the most handsy, greasy
it's
of
the
all
worst.
of them.
KFC is let's set a room aside and we'll make an event of this because we're burning that room afterwards.
Yeah.
No. So in there, I have been trying to think of other uses of a heated drawer in the bottom of my console. And so far I've come up with nothing. Maybe you could put some gloves in there so you can take them out and they're nice and toasty on a cold night. Or I can't really think of anything good. Maybe if it was an air fryer.
Yeah,
do up some veggies in it.
I'm just thinking about, the logistics, because as someone who sits and plays video games at my PC regularly, and having something like this near me, but because in between games, how you have a wait in a queue or whatever, and you have a sip of your drink and maybe watch Twitch, but you still got to touch your keyboard, you still got to touch your mouse. So there's at no point enough time really to pick up a chicken leg from KFC and just eat that whole leg and then also be able to
Maybe
have a wet
chicken
wipe to
strip
wipe
or a nugget.
Yeah, you could get nugget. You could get chopsticks or tongs and eat nuggets.
What if you didn't use
Chopsticks.
your hands? What if you just picked it up with your face?
Oh,
logic.
Just stick your face into the burning drawer. Also,
solved it.
have they deliberately made the system run? Because it's supposed to use the heat from the hardware. It's just redirected into the drawer. So they deliberately made it run extra hot.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. It's not a design flaw. It was intentional.
Because it's these days not water cooling is sort of where you go. It's that's not really going to transfer heat in that way. It still transfers heat, but you've deliberately just made fans that conduit we're going to we're going to overclock everything and just have conduits that push all of that heat down the bottom with fans. So I think it's a brilliant idea, and we should all buy one.
Flawless.
Yeah, nothing
It's
will ever go wrong
revolutionary.
with your greasy meat console.
You know what? At the end of the day, it's still got a better graphics card than my PC. So,
Oh, it's not a bad PC at all.
it's not bad. So, I guess we'll have to give it the benefit of the doubt. Thanks, Cooler Master, Asus, and Seagate, and of course, definitely KFC for bringing us this KF console.
KFC's been on the viral thing. They did that romance game this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's that romance Colonel
yeah.
Sanders game.
What was something Colonel Sanders?
I love you,
Something.
Colonel Sanders.
I love
Yeah.
you, Colonel Sanders. That's it. Yeah, we should
I
talk
never
about
played it.
Actually, in a previous Z Games episode, we have spoken about I love you, Colonel Sanders. So you can always jump on the Z Games website, zgamesau.net, and you can find that episode and listen to the intense discussions about that game.
Well, I'll just quickly check what it was because I love you, Colonel Sanders. Yeah. A finger-looking good dating simulator. But I just
That's
started
right.
saying KFC romance, and then I remembered that they've just got that movie coming out, which is a sexy. It's called A
Oh,
Recipe for
gosh.
Seduction.
I did see about that.
Oh no, I have not heard of this.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's an original Lifetime movie. Ooh, sexy Colonel Sanders. Oh, yes.
Wow, it's been a year for Colonel, hasn't it?
It has.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay, who's
It's also been a year.
Mario Lopez. Sorry.
No. Oh, really? Mario Lopez?
Yeah, he's the Colonel.
Wow. There you go, everyone. That's information that everyone needed to know, I think. So I'm glad.
Do you have
Yeah.
a release date?
I think it's already out.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It
Check it out.
came out on us Sunday. So the date of this. No, it was weeks ago it came out. So we should go track that down.
We're out of the
Wow. Okay, get on it, people.
So sexy.
You know what you're doing for the rest of this holiday, right? You can play I Love You, Colonel Sanders whilst watching.
And
Same
eating
time.
chicken out of
And
your
eating chicken.
new PC.
And you can watch it on your new PC. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, that's the week in gaming news. if you'd like to check out more of the news and maybe any of the links or anything like that, you can head over to the Zed Games Facebook page at ZedGamesAU to, just get all your weekly gaming news dose. I don't know what I'm saying. We are now about to head into a segment where we talk about our top picks for 2020.
Games of the year.
Games of the year. That's right. I'm actually going to be playing some nice chill sounds of Emo Astray in the background, which was a game, that Zara had picked as one of their top picks for the year. That and Destiny 2 Beyond Light. So there you go. Paul.
Yeah.
What were your top picks?
I have all my picks. I believe my last two, because I sort of start with a top 100 sort of each year, and then I narrow it down to a top 10.
Top 100. Wow.
Yeah, because I'm a huge game playing nerd that I don't stop, and that's. But yes, this year I ended up putting both games I reviewed on this show. Number 2, I got to remember my own order here. I had Spiritfarer, which was a game about death, which I so much love.
That's a theme.
Yeah, it's a theme I really go with. It's really good. I'm not someone that loves games because of characters, generally, except the games I really love have great characters. And this was you're shepherding souls to the afterlife on a boat, and that boat is a bit of a farming simulator sort of thing, but very low stakes. It's just a bunch of mini games, and you're getting to know these people as you collect them, and then work out their problems, and then send them on to the afterlife.
You were very moved by that game, though.
I was. It's very effective. I probably cried, I don't know, at least half a dozen times throughout it. It's like, no, and there's, some of even the existence of some of the characters is kind of a spoiler because they are tragic, but they're also very realistic, and it's weirdly gently handled. It's not over.
But also Spiritfarer was, I believe, made it into the Game Awards for like art direction.
Yeah, it's got a bunch
like
of it's picked up quite a few awards around the place.
Yeah,
sort
it
of
was
in those
nominated
indie side stuff.
Yeah, it was nominated for Games of Impact, which sort of indicates, I guess, that it was a very emotional game.
Yeah.
And it also was nominated for Best Indie Game.
Yes, and then the less emotional game, which was Paradise Killer, which I ended up going number one, which is weird because it's a flawed game. It's janky in many ways, but it did some things with storytelling. And again, the characters are so amazing. You're solving a crime on an island where everyone are evil cultists that have now 25 times kidnapped a whole bunch of humanity, and then it didn't work out, so they just slaughter them all and move on. But now some of you have been killed, so now you're going to go solve the mystery.
I remember that being like quite an interesting game experience for you, though, because it sort of it took you on turns that you weren't expecting as well, right?
Yeah, because I went back at the end of it. I went back, and you can beat the game in 10 minutes if you want. You can just go and start the end court case and say, I don't know who did it. The guy you already thought did it, yeah, he did it. Goodbye. And there's no penalty for doing that. You miss out on a lot of story and a lot of things we're seeing. And the whole world's this like 80s synth wave, just surreal. It is quite an impactful game. They're like, yeah, I think about it a lot. More so than a lot of other games this year that might have been a bit bigger, a bit more polished.
What about you, Maylee? What are your picks for the year?
I didn't pick one of these as first place or second place. I just picked two
that you liked. Yeah. That's
ones.
what you want.
I have the not so surprising, topped a lot of lists, Hades.
Yeah.
Just
it is.
I don't know.
It's an epic game. It's amazing.
I don't know how to describe it or sell it to someone other than saying like you gotta play it.
It's a roguelike for people that can't traditionally get into roguelikes because there's so much progression. It keeps drip feeding you. I was talking about it the other day, and someone was telling me this feature that they uncovered like 40-50 hours in that I'd never heard of, because at that far in they're still just giving you new stuff to play with.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm not actually a big player of roguelike games, and I adored playing Hades.
I really also appreciated the voice acting. I loved the voices, especially who's Hades' son, the guy you play as?
Zagreus.
That's Zagreus, that's it. I love his voice. So every time there's been like some voice acting from him, I've just really thoroughly enjoyed just the whole
I love
the universe itself.
Of each of them. They're also well designed.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
And great characters and storytelling is not something that it's the antithesis of roguelikes.
Yeah.
It's like we don't normally deal with that at all. There might be some meta thing going on, but whatever. But that game...
Meta. What is this?
Yeah.
And what was your other game?
My other game was Drake Hollow, which I reviewed,
Not long ago.
a few months
I remember you
back.
being quite hyped for it.
I was very excited.
And that's Molasses Flood, yeah?
Molasses Flood.
Yeah, those are the developers there. But if you're actually interested in checking out Maylee's review of Drake Hollow, you can head over to the Z Games website, zgamesau.net, and you can check it out
Hell yeah.
because it's an awesome game, awesome review, beautiful art style again. So good choices.
I think both of those games, I think a big part of what I liked was just how beautiful they were to play in. And that was a big thing with Drake Hollow.
With little baby drakes and stuff. Super
It was
cute.
at a stressful time when I first played it, and I just loved running around. The world is beautiful. You get these cute little Drake vegetable friends to take care of. It's great. What more could you want?
Aww. There you go.
Good little veggies.
If that doesn't sell it, like, I don't know what will, but
What about you?
my top picks. So I selected Coffee Talk. It came out back in January, so this is a game that has still sort of been at the top of my list since the beginning of the year. And Coffee Talk
impressive.
it's an indie game. It's by Malaysian developers, Toge Productions, and the game is essentially interactive narrative. I also had a review of that as well. You can check out on the Z Games website as well, zgamesau.net. But it was so beautiful, and like the story was so deep, and you get to you're just basically a barista in this coffee shop who you get to interact with all these different customers and their interesting walks of life and how they get along, and how they're all so different, but how they all come together. And all these different people aren't just people; they're also like humanoids. So there's like centaurs and like Aquaman and stuff like that. So they're all different, and how they all sort of coexist in Seattle, which is this rainy, sort of gloomy city. And it's just real chill. And it came out during a time when I was sort of trying to wind down as well, and it sort of helped me sort of just have this really chilled experience. And I loved that. I loved it so much.
It's funny, the whole sort of narrative game where you are service industry is like a whole big genre now. Like you got Coffee Talk, you got Necro Barista, you've got Red Strings Club, you got Valhalla. You got the ones where you're taxi, where I think there's at least 4 that you're a taxi driver, because it's an excuse for all sorts of people to come and talk to you, and you're in static
and you're
position.
just interacting with that. Actually, there's a game that I'll be talking about at some point. It's called Just Mowing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that's like a service game that it's exactly what you're saying. It's just like a whole category now that's like in demand. People love it. And I'm finding myself quite enjoying this sort of category. But my top pick for the year, Coffee Talk is right up there, but Moving Out is my number one.
Oh, yes.
The reason I say this is because, one, it's an Aussie game and I can't go past a good Aussie game, but also when we got Moving Out, it provided endless joy for me and my housemates and my girlfriend at home. We just had so much fun playing Moving Out, and it was just like something that we could keep playing and going, oh, we're going to play Moving Out after dinner tonight, you know? And we're like, yeah, sure. And that was sort of what kept us sort of strong during COVID and the thick of the lockdown.
I love a couch co-op game.
Yes.
Probably don't have money on my list this year because of this year. But Moving Out's great, yeah. And that's SMG, isn't it?
Yeah, SMG, and also they also created Overcooked 1 and 2 as well, and they're also fantastic couch co-ops. Can definitely recommend them for a good time at home with friends. It's awesome. Toby also has some top picks, and I also have Rani's top picks. Rani's was Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Summer in Mara, and she specifically said on PC, not on Switch. There's also Toby. Toby had Animal Crossing as his number 1, and Factorio. Factorio he also did a review of as well. So those are the top picks for Z Games. If you missed all our top picks and you'd like to check them all out again, or you just like to know where you can purchase these very awesome games, you can have it at the Z Games Facebook page at ZEDGamesAU. I have a post there with all the links to all the games. Most of the links will be either PC or Nintendo Switch, but you can also get a lot of these games on different platforms as well. You can inspect that for yourself. But yeah, those are the top picks for Z Games this year, 2020. I hope you enjoyed We
Hope you
hope
agree.
yeah, and I'm hope 2021 brings some more goodness, some goodies.
Oh, I
'Cause
should have
I'm
written
keen.
down my lowest game. Oh, damn.
No,
It would have been good. It would have been good.
I want to know this lowest game. I want to know.
I don't know. I should have written it down.
Yeah,
I got to
you
go back
should've.
to my Excel
Okay,
spreadsheet.
We'll have to go back to it at some point.
So we're going to go into a review of Fuser now.
Let's do it.
So back in 2017, Harmonix, developers of Guitar Hero, well, the original Guitar Hero, Rock Band and Dance Central, among other games, released a game called Drop Mix. It consisted of a large physical board that connected to your tablet or phone and allowed you to mix music by dropping cards that represented different tracks onto the board. It was a wonderful concept, and worked well, and totally failed to find an audience. The concept and back-end technology are now back in a totally digital game called Fuser. As an upcoming DJ, you'll work your way through various gigs, building up a robust skill set and dropping some wild tunes. To simplify this, let's break it down. A song consists of 4 simultaneous tracks. So for example, here I'm going to drop the drum beat for Rock the Casbah. And I'll put the keys from Nicki Minaj's Starships. The horns from Amy Winehouse's Rehab. And let's say, for lyrics, let's drop Killing in the Name of. Anyway, so let's drop that down now. Okay. So there we go. Now I dropped them in very randomly, not how you're supposed to do in a game, so it's a bit chunkier than it normally is, but that's just for example. So you'll start dropping different tracks and evolve the song. And sorry, just gotta scroll down here. Good. As well as individual instruments, so you can program instruments and then drop them in as separate tracks. Effects, and the crowd will ask you for specific requests as you're performing. So they'll say, "Hey, give us a song from the '90s" or something like that. It all nets you points. Starts simple, but it quickly ramps up. It's very difficult as it continues because there's a lot of controls going on, but you have very tight control over the song. It's all very well and good as a music creation tool, but how is it as a game? Well, it's okay. It's more of a game than Drop Mix was. The problem really is that Harmonix have developed a music creation tool, and a really cool one at that. And turning that into a point-based competitive system is never going to be entirely satisfying. It does have the simple intuitiveness... Oh, it doesn't have, the simple intuitives of a game like Guitar Hero, which was a real party favorite back in its day. That said, you can easily use the game as music for a party, and anyone can just grab it and drop in tracks. It's just not going to bring out the competitiveness and showmanship that those other games would have. They've done a lot of work to build the world of Fuser, and it lets you customize your DJ, cutscenes for the campaign where you work for various fictional DJs and customize your stage show. If you're like me, however, and don't really care at best and find DJ culture obnoxious at worst, there's a handy skip button for cutscenes, so you can ignore that for the most part. The idea of 5-starring a song to get some awesome new hot pants doesn't really motivate me in this game. There are online multiplayer modes, co-op freestyle, where you take turns on the decks, and battles where you battle head-to-head for points. But the real winner here is the social features, where there are regular challenges and you submit mixes for them. I think one of them at the moment is Grungy Drums. Once submissions close, the public can vote on their favourites. For a game about creativity, it's a really smart implementation of a competitive mode. You can get rewards for taking part, or simply just voting on other people's mixes. The game features over 100 tracks by default. How many over? 8. So 108 tracks altogether. I just love their marketing of that. Additional tracks can be purchased individually for $3 each, but normally they're also in packs, which is normally nets you a little bit of a saving and gets you a lot of music. And just as a side on that, I generally like getting the music that I don't know and I'm not a fan of, because it'll be more interesting in the mix, and I just learn those songs as I go. If you're into streaming and you're worried about DMCA takedowns, Harmonix have done the work to hopefully assure that streamers will be fined legally. There are some rules around streaming to stay compliant, but they're all laid out and are quite easy to follow. Main ones being no swearing and no using the music to promote another product. I'm playing Fuser on the Switch, but it's available on all major consoles and PC. For best play, I'd probably recommend the PC, as the game is very fiddly and mouse control would help a lot. Touch control is sadly missing on the Switch, but you'll have a solid experience on all platforms. I chose the Switch so I could just take it to events and play it at parties and get it going, which is similar to what we did to Drop Mix as well. We just put it in the corner and people would throw cards at it and it would be weird, crazy music all night long. It would be nice if the game had like an autoplay mode, but unfortunately that doesn't exist at the moment. Fuser is an amazing tool and you'll have a lot of fun with in the long term. I expect few will be impressed by the more game aspects of it though. But it's a wild ride making great beats and musical monsters.
I am intrigued.
I'm actually,
Nice.
you've kind of sold me on it a little bit because Nat, my partner, loves music and music production, and maybe she would actually like to play something like that. So yeah.
Combination.
Yeah.
Gaming and the music.
Bring our worlds together.
It really is. And like as you get to know the tracks and everything, you'll start to actually like, oh, if I drop in at this point, I can really pick up the lyrical line and everything. And it's really good in that by default it teaches you to drop things sort of on the upbeat for beat one. But that doesn't really work out with a song because often, but there's little indicators to show like, oh, the lyrics are actually going to start a phrase here. So if you drop in there, you'll get it at a more appropriate point and stuff like that. There's volume control on all tracks. You can have multiple things lined up at once for a quick switch and all. It gets like it uses every button on the goddamn controller.
Right. So it gets complicated.
Yeah, but at the very basic, you can just drop down tracks and you'll hear some cool things and you'll laugh. And as sort of like, you know, like girl talk and stuff like that, those sort of mashups are just sort of intrinsically fun.
Yeah.
And like, hey, what's that in the background? And sometimes it doesn't always sound amazing if you go for some real weird things together, but it still works.
Right.
You can change the tempo and the key on all tracks and they all will move together. And it's like technologically, it's one of the most impressive things Harmonix has ever done. And it's just great to play with. Like the only reason I'm playing the single player is to unlock all the tools because they're not all unlocked by default in the free play.
Are you going to play us a track?
Yeah, shall we get into some music?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'm going to drop in some stuff and let's unmute this.
What's this masterpiece called?
We'll call this Z Games on 4ZZZ.
Yeah, let's do it. Wow.
Let's start with the cowbell from Don't Fear the Reaper and we'll go from there.
Let's go.
Okay.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L.
Is enough enough? I saw the sign. It opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. Life is demanding without understanding. I saw the sign.
You've been listening to Zed Games.
Yeah,
It's been sick. It's been a fun ride this year.
been grooving.
Thanks, Paul, so much for your DJ ability and taking us out.
He's in the zone.
He's in the zone.
Bye from Paul.
Bye from Paul.
Bye.
We're gonna head on out. It's been an amazing 2020.
See you next year.
See you next year. Yeah, that's it from us. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games. If you'd like to listen to more, check out our podcast on Spotify or follow us on social media at ZedEDGamesAU. See you next time.